Hi, my name is Simon, and it is great to be with you here in Amplify, especially thinking about this slightly crazy, wacky, amazing, incredible invention of AI, artificial intelligence, which is great for people like me who struggle with actual intelligence, throw in a little bit of artificial side, and Bob's your uncle. But we're going to think about this in a very practical sense. We know that many people have tried AI and many haven't, but we're thinking of very simple steps to get you started in using a chatbot like ChatGPT or Bard or one of those, as well as generative art, creating images using AI. And this is going to start from the very basic level and give you some ideas as well as show you some things that are possible at a more advanced level. But we hope that this is a chance to give you some new skills and some new tools for your ministry. And but I'm not going to kick it off. I'm going to ask a friend of mine to get us started, and then I'll be back.
Welcome to this AI training session. We are thrilled you are here and hope that you learn a lot. My name is Sheila. As you can see, I am an AI robot. My design, my voice, and my movements have all been created by AI. In this session, the humans are going to explain AI and how to use it. They'll explain some of the dangers as well as their top ideas. I'd like to say they are super smart, but as you will see, they have a lot to learn. They don't even know how to dress properly. But enjoy the session. I might zip off and have a cup of tea. See you later.
Thanks, Sheila. Now, AI obviously is controversial, and you'll see it in the news. You'll see all of the different ways it's starting to be used badly. In this session, we won't go into all of that. That's something for you to be wise about, to be discerning about. And obviously, it's also an area that is developing so rapidly. So all we're going to do is to talk about what's possible now and be wise as this develops as to what's the right thing to do. But certainly the way that we've used AI in the last 12, 18 months has been incredible, both in our kids club, creating theming for our Christmas in the jungle just a few weeks or a couple of months ago, and creating animations around the family on mission theme that you can find on Mac 7, and all sorts of things are possible. Of course, I could always turn myself into a cartoon. Woohoo! But everything that I want to share with you today, and I've got a number of friends helping, comes from the AI toolkit that we wrote late last year. And it covers a lot of the detail that we're going to be talking about, because you'll want to go back and refer to things that we are mentioning to be able to practice and try things. And so this will be very valuable. It's free. You can download it from Mac 7 onto your phone if you'd like, or you can download it and print it. And it covers a whole range of different things, how to set up, how to get started, how to use a chatbot, how to do generative art, and a lot of tips along the way. Really very helpful. And we'll go through that in this training session. And it also talks a little bit about what does the Bible say about AI. So go and have a look at that. And obviously AI doesn't replace human creativity. I don't believe it ever will. And in fact, even with all of these huge numbers of tools, and it's changing every single day, it still takes a good idea. It still takes incredible creativity to know how to apply these things. And yet it's also very simple. It's a great tool for us to use in ministry, to create things, to shorten the writing, to come up with a game, to give us lists of ideas, to create logos, to build pictures and theming and coloring sheets. There are lots of different possibilities that we'll go through, and you'll be amazed at how simple it is. And we've been training leaders around the world in the last few months, and it's incredible to see that the way that even people in difficult parts of the world can create new resources in their language and be able to create the images that they need that wasn't possible before if they didn't have the skill. So incredible ideas. Now, before we also take this any further, have a look at this. This is our very first AI video that we did a number of months ago, and helps remind us that we are meant as families and as people to be lighthouses in our community. That's a beautiful video that's part of a movement around the world called Families on Mission. You can have a look at Max 7 to see more about that. Now we want to dig into and get going. Let's make something together. And one of the things that you need to understand when you're using AI, and you may well know this, is the idea of a prompt. How do you tell the computer what you want? How do you make that clear? How do you shape it? What order do you do? We're going to have a think about that. But before we do that, I have another friend.
As we discover generative art made by AI, you will need to understand the concept of a prompt. A prompt is some natural human language in text form describing the task that an AI should perform. So, for example, a grasshopper playing a guitar in a rainforest by a waterfall. Nice. The humans are now going to explain everything they know about prompts. That should take about 2 minutes. That's humor. Apparently. Ha ha ha.
So thank you, crazy robot lady. Anyway, I might woolitize her and that cool grasshopper in the waterfall. This is something that you can do on an app called Starry AI, which also gives you the opportunity to do some free images. Anyway, before we jump into actually how to do prompting with a chatbot, I was playing around with Google Bard and I asked it for what are some ideas that I could do to create prompts for, and it gave a whole list of ideas, but one of them was, why don't you create a poem in the style of William Shakespeare? And I thought that would be interesting. Let's see if Google Bard can match the Bard. So I said, why don't you write a poem about football or soccer in the style of Shakespeare? Here it is.
Upon the verdant pitch where heroes tread, the game of football with its leather ball is played with passion, skill, and daring head to score the goal that brings them lasting fame. The players gather, clad in vibrant hues, their spirits soaring, their resolve complete. The ball is passed with precision rare and volleys struck with thunderous acclaim. So let us hail this noble sport of kings, where teamwork triumphs and the victor sings.
Now that fun little video was written by Google Bard and all the images were created by AI. And it was mostly done on my phone while I was minding my boys one weekend. So it shows the power of AI. Now, I interviewed James Burden, a good friend of mine from Perfectly Digital in the UK, and asked him to take us through some of the different ideas that he has about using ChatGPT. James, put us out of our misery. How do we use ChatGPT, and what are some of the key principles? Can you demonstrate?
Can indeed. Right, I'm going to share my screen, or I've got ChatGPT up. Now, there are lots of different chatbots that you can use nowadays. There's ChatGPT, there's Bard, and there's a whole host of other ones. And they will give you lots of different tools to help you write your prompts now. Back when AI started coming into the mainstream, which is almost exactly a year ago now, you just had a blank screen and that was it. But now, if you sign up with openai.com, which is the company behind ChatGPT, you can start using their tool for free. And they've got lots of new things in their interface now. So even on the very basic ChatGPT interface, you can load up prompt templates, and it will give you lots of different ideas about how to structure your prompts. And there's all sorts of other things you can explore there. There are lots of different wrappers that you can use to interact with a chatbot. So you might find that there's a different program which uses the ChatGPT engine and just gives you some extra tools around that. But what we're going to do now is take a look at some of the ways that we can use ChatGPT. Let me just get my screens arranged here. That one there. Okay. So, one of the ways that we've been talking about is how important it is to be specific. So let's say you're wanting to do a warm up game. You're running a session In fact, let's ask ChatGPT how I should start this session. So I'm about to lead a 15-minute session online with a group of about 60 people from different countries around the world. Be covering topic of useful ways to use chatbots. Give me 3 points I should include in the session. So here it's given me 3 essential points I should include. Personalization and efficiency, can explain how they can streamline processes and adapt to user needs. Global accessibility and multilingual support, which is obviously really important for a group such as ours where we're coming from many different countries, different languages, different cultures. And integration and scalability, how you can use it in different contexts such as websites, apps, and messaging platforms. So let's start a new chat. And this time we're going to ask for 3 ideas for a warm-up game. And I want to show you how things can change when we start getting a little more precise. So here I've given very little direction to ChatGPT. Just said 3 ideas for a warm-up game. And it's given me 3 ideas: 2 truths and a lie, human bingo, and word association. But there's no context around that. If we become a little more precise and a little more specific, let's just type this in. So here we're saying I'm a Christian children's worker with a group of 30 children in a tent in hot weather. Give me 5 ideas for a 3-minute energizer game to use with children aged 7 to 9 to help them settle and focus. So we're being a lot more targeted with our prompt there. We're saying what we want the outcome to be. You know, we want them to be settled and focused on what's coming next. We're putting in some constraints. We're saying that this is quite a large group. It's a limited age group of children, and we know that it's hot. So let's see what ChatGPT says in response to that. Okay, so this is good because it's already putting this in a Christian context. It's saying we could use some lively Christian music appropriate for children, instruct the children to dance and move around the tent. Now, already we can see that with this quote, maybe ChatGPT hasn't got quite the same sense of managing children that some human experts might do. We've told ChatGPT that this is going to be a tent in hot weather. So whether we want children dancing around to lively Christian music, we'd need to make a judgment on that. But then if we went on to this second idea, pass the water balloon, that could be fun. Bible story, charades, fruit relay race. And it does say, make sure to adapt these for the hot weather conditions in your tent. So that shows us how we can be more specific. Now, let's say we want to provide some context. That this is something that I've found very useful. Let's start another new chat. Oh, one thing just to point out: when you're using ChatGPT, in the sidebar, you get the full history of your chats. So you know if you've asked previous questions, then such as this one here, I was doing a contract with somebody. I didn't understand a particular piece of text. So I just said, please explain this in plain English, and pasted the content in from the contract, and then ChatGPT gave me a plain English explanation of what that was. So let's start a new chat, and this time I'm going to put in a prompt about writing a brochure for a Christian holiday program. And here you can see I'm saying I want 5 benefits of attending, each benefit to be no more than 50 words. So I'm visualizing what I want that brochure to look like and how much content I want ChatGPT to write. And I'm giving it some direction on what kind of tone of voice I want it to be. I want it to be approachable, friendly, reassuring, and the content needs to convey that kind of integrity and trust and empathy. And then I'm telling them who the target reader is going to be. So it's going to be parents of children aged 7 to 11. Target reader will not necessarily be familiar with Christian faith, so your content should be clear and avoid jargon. Okay, so ChatGPT has come up with some suggestions. So these are all within the 50-word limit. So again, this isn't a case of simply copying and pasting this into your brochure for Christian holiday program, but it can be a springboard for you then to think, actually, that's a really good way of organizing my thinking, or actually, I'm really not sure whether I want to include the one about, I don't want children to have fun and adventure, so we're going to scrap number 5, we're going to do something else. And you can follow it up with further questions. You can say, actually, I've changed my mind. I want this to be for professional readers of teenagers aged 15 to 18. Assume that the parents know nothing Christianity. Okay, let's see what ChatGPT says there. Okay, so ChatGPT is coming back saying, okay, let's adjust the tone and content. And you can see here that these, if we look back, these values here, these values here is saying in a very kind of informal and friendly way about what the features would be. Whereas if we come down here, it's a little bit more removed, a little bit less engaging. And assuming no knowledge about the Christian faith, so it's a good way to follow up on those responses that come back. Let's try something else. Okay, how about this one? I've no idea how much time I've used yet, Si. So I'll make this my last prompt.
About 3 more minutes. You're right.
Oh, brilliant! I'll make this my last prompt, and then I want to quickly show you the website page. So I want you to create a 10-minute game that will help children think about generosity. And here I'm using examples so that it's really clearly instructing the chatbot as to what context to give it. So I'm saying, for example, it could be based on the biblical story of 5 loaves and 2 fishes, or it could be the story of the widow's offering. In creating the game, you should give consideration to the fact that children will be from underprivileged backgrounds. So again, we're giving some really clear context that we want ChatGPT to respond with. And ChatGPT has come back with the objective, the materials needed, instructions, and preparation, and so on. Really, really thorough approach, actually. So you could then follow this up by saying, actually, I've got no materials. So rework what you've given me above, but using no materials at all. So that's it that's scratching the surface. There is so much you can do with ChatGPT. If you were to scroll down my own ChatGPT history, you'd see an awful lot of ways that I'm using it with building websites and understanding code and building spreadsheet formulas and all sorts of things like that. But I just want to show you the resources page on the gcf.community website, so you can access that through this link here, gcf.community/tools/resources. It's also on this menu here, resources. And you'll see here that I've created a list of the different tools that you can use. So you've got the chatbots here, generative art. So some of the things that Spy was talking about, such as Starry AI, generative video. Kyber AI was one of the tools that Sai has been using to create these videos. Generative music. This has improved a lot in the last few months about what can be done there. AI transcription and summary. If you want, if you're doing a Zoom call or a Google Meet or a Microsoft Teams meeting, you can sign up for a completely free account with Fathom.video. It will record your calls, transcribe them, give you a summary. They don't even have a paid tier on their platform at the moment, so well worth doing that. And then there's some non-AI resources there as well, such as stock images. And if you've got tools to suggest, you can add those in here, send them through, we'll get them added. And if you would like to join the AI learning community on WhatsApp, then you can do that here and you'll get an email with a link to join that community. And this button here, that gives you the toolkit that Simon was waving around a few minutes ago. Then at the bottom of that page, there's a few things that you should understand just in terms of pricing and warnings. do make sure that you read that. It's a really useful tool, but we all need to go into it with our eyes wide open.
Thank you, James. That was excellent and gives us a lot of ideas. And the toolkit takes you even deeper with some of the prompt ideas that James wasn't able to cover. So 10 really good ideas in getting better at giving prompts and trying new things. Now we're going to take a little bit of time to pause, have a quick brainstorm, maybe stretch your legs. And what we're going to think about are what are some of the ways that you have used a chatbot? Or if you haven't used one before, based on what you've just heard, how could you use it? What would help you? So on page 13 of the toolkit, there are a few examples there. For example, you could shorten a piece of writing. So copy and paste something that's quite long and say to the chatbot, could you rewrite this in 50 words? Or you could fix and improve text. It's a great way of taking something and saying, could you make this neater or clearer? You can create new text, new ideas, as we've heard, and create lists of ideas. A great one is contextualize for a new audience. So could you take this, rewrite it into simple language for children? Or could you rewrite this for a different language even? Or you could adapt it into a new form. So could you take this Bible passage and create a game for me, or create a poem, or create a puppet script? So they're just some ideas. I'm sure you've used it. I'm sure you've tried more things. If you're on your own watching this video, then you might like to stretch your legs and just write some ideas on a piece of paper. If not, you can discuss this in small groups. I'll give you 3 minutes. I'll go quiet, and you can share these ideas of how you've used or could use a chatbot. Welcome back. We hope that was helpful, gave you a bit of a break, chance to stretch your legs and have a chat. Now we're going to move on to creating images with AI, which is called generative art. I want to show you a video that we made back in 2022, back in the very early days of AI, but it gives you a little bit of a taste of what we're going to talk about next. Enjoy. So let's get going. That gave you an idea of some of the images that were possible, and AI has improved a lot since then. And we've been experimenting with lots of the different AI apps, different ways of making things. One that I use a lot is called Midjourney, but it's a paid app. And thankfully, Microsoft have one called Bing Create, which is free, and that's what we're going to demonstrate today. They all work on a very similar principle, where you type in a prompt and it gives you an image. It's as simple as that. So let's walk through using Bing Create, and that'll get you started if you haven't done anything before, and it won't cost you a cent. Now, Bing, just do a Google search for Bing Create, and then sign in if you need to sign in, or if you've already got a Microsoft account, it might just come up. You get 15, I think, free, fast images a day, but then after that, it'll keep working. It just goes a little bit slower. So it's reasonably unlimited. Now, of course, these things change, but I do know right now you get 15 fast images because it takes a lot of processing power from the computer. So they give you a certain amount of fast ones, and then it goes a little bit slower. But a lot of the ones I'm about to show you, I was doing on the slow speed, and it still only took 5, 10, 15 seconds and it would still come up. So it's pretty good. Anyway, let me walk you through it.
Let's start with something simple. Let's create a picture of a boy. How about that? Now, I'm speeding this up a little bit. So when you do this, it might not be quite so fast. Now, you'll see there it came up with unsafe image. These sort of programs do check for bad things. So sometimes, even though I'm just asking for a boy, AI has generated something that gets blocked. So let's be a bit more specific. 10-year-old boy. Let's see what I can create. Nice. Now, I have 2 adopted Ethiopian sons, so I'm going to try that. Be even more specific with what I'm looking for. 10-year-old Ethiopian boy with a soccer ball, wearing soccer clothes. Be very specific of what you want. And there you go. That looks pretty good. But let's be more creative. How about with a soccer ball in a spaceship with a window looking at an alien world? Let's see what that looks like. And you'll see then AI does extraordinary things. Oh, that's nice. But he's not looking very happy. So let's give it a mood. So what about if he's happy? What difference? Oh, that's nice. But here he's being a passenger. What if he was in control? So let's put him in controlling the spaceship, and with control panels, I wouldn't mind seeing. Let's see what that looks like. Very nice. Now we can change the style of it a little bit. So instead of being kind of a photograph or 3D animation style, I'm going to go for a hand-drawn illustration. And I love the word whimsical. That adds a nice thing. And it's kind of a children's book style. Let's try that. Oh, nice. Yeah, there you go. But you can play with the style and put anything. So in this case, I'm going to try, I don't know, maybe paper cutout. That's a nice style. And using vibrant colors, give it a go, see what it can do. So you put in any sort of art style or description and play around with it. It's very good. What about a coloring book? So I'm going to go more of a black and white look and see what I can do. And I keep tweaking the prompt to see what I can come up with. So that gives you a little bit of an idea for our 10-year-old Ethiopian boy. What about if I do a mother, 35-year-old mother? I'll be very specific, and a 10-year-old boy, her son, and they're walking down a path. And then I give a bit more detail of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for photorealistic, and even the light. What's it? Afternoon light, which would be a sort of golden light. Oh, nice. Very stylish models there. What about if they're in hiking clothes in a little bit more of a real situation? So you play around with the different sort of look that you're looking for. So that's in the Australian bush. What if I said in the Egyptian desert? What difference would that make? Oh, nice. What about on the moon? I found that AI struggles to put things on the moon, as it's done again here. It puts the moon in the background. What about a medieval castle? What would that give me? There you go. So you play around, you create a subject, you create description, what style you're looking for, what mood you're looking for, and then slowly add to it. And in the toolkit, it gives you a lot of detail. In this case, I'm doing a soccer ball, but I want to play with that. And vector is a very good one, a flat vector design. That means it's going to be sort of graphic design look. Yeah, very nice. What about if I play around with the material that it's made of? So made of old wood and a bit of a sculpture. It's still a soccer ball, but it's going to be made of wood. Or what if it was made of jelly? So you can take an idea and then trial all sorts of different possibilities. Or one of my sons had a birthday the other day. So what about if I try a soccer ball as a birthday cake to come up with some ideas? Yeah, very nice. So that's another possibility. Another very good way to use AI, and particularly Bing, is to do logos. So here we're going to create a logo design for a kids club called Spark. And I'm going to go with a kind of an explosion of color, see what that gives me. So just wait a few minutes. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's not bad. But what about if I have a Bible, because it's going to be at my church and I want to have a Bible. You can use things like simple, minimalist, that kind of give you a much simpler design. That some of those might work. Or I might go, no, I want more specific details, an explosion of craft and sports materials. What's that going to give me? And there you go. It gets confused and does explosions with rockets, but some of them look okay. Let's take out the explosion and just see what it gives me. I'll keep the Bible, add maybe some splatters of paint. So, okay, yeah, the bottom left one doesn't look too bad. And if there's one that I like, I can click on it and then I download it. Just click on the actual picture, download it and save it somewhere on your computer. So that's what you do. I could also play around with creating a bit of a character for my kids club if I wanted to. So I'm going to try for a walking Bible. I'll make it cartoon art, bright colors, and make it kind of cool dude feeling, aimed at a 10-year-old boy. Okay, there you go. Might be aimed a little bit younger, but can play around with that. Or if I don't like it, I click create again and it does it again. And you can do that any number of times. So I'm going to go for graffiti art if I knew how to spell the word. So let's try that and see what sort of style that gives. It'll give a slightly older style maybe. Let's give it a shot, see what it comes up with. All right, so it gives a slightly different feel. So that's the principle. And in the toolkit, you'll see a whole range of different ways and 7 different guidelines in terms of prompts. And you can see there, you don't have to give too much detail, but the more detail you give, the more likely you're going to end up with something that you're looking for.
Well, that gives you an idea of the process of Bing, and it's very simple. All the different AI generative art apps work in a sort of similar way. Some of them have a bit more detail, some of them allow you to create different shapes and orientations, but they all work in a sort of similar way. Before we move on from here, I've asked two of my colleagues, Jane and Jared, to share their process in creating Bible resources. Jane's going to talk a little bit about some of the storytelling. Jared will talk about creating biblical art. And we're using this in all sorts of different ways. Right now, we're creating some coloring sheets using AI for the Bible Society's Jesus All About Life Easter project. So you can even download those when they come. And but here's some ideas. They'll walk you through their process, and it'll give you another taste of using Bing Create and what you can do.
Thanks, Si. This is just a quick look at some images that I created using the Bing AI free image create. Each day you get 15 free prompts that are fast, that generate quickly. Otherwise, it can slow down to minutes and minutes and minutes of processing, and sometimes a very long time processing. I found that very helpful because I would just spend a set amount of time each day creating some images, and if I didn't get what I wanted, or I only had a few things that I wanted, I could still come back the next day and get 15 free fast creation images, and that was all I needed. So that's why I don't have a subscription. That's why I prefer to use the free products, and also because I just need some really simple things done. So here's one of the very first images that I created using Bing, and that was to ask for an ancient, peaceful Middle Eastern streetscape. I didn't want any telegraph poles or wires or satellite dishes or cars or people in modern costume. So you can see there that the street is just quite simple, and it's set in early morning. The other image on the other side, the little flask, this flask is also created using Bing, and once again just asking for a ceramic flask. And the context, I actually described a much bigger picture and ended up just doing a close-up on the flask itself. And these images, they're free, they're not high resolution, but they're good enough for what I'm doing, which is storytelling in a church context. Probably printing these out and showing them to kids, or reading them with families. The other thing that I found really helpful was to do backlit storytelling. Most of these are interiors because it's a very domestic story. So here you can see the widow weeping, but because of the backlight, I don't have to match eye colour and hair colour and so on. And I've also used that backlit either early morning light or evening light for these kinds of pictures. So over on the right of the screen, you can see the widow's sons, and you can see the widow again, even though she's here. She's got her head covered. Here she is out, and you can see more of the shape of her face and her hair coming out from under her hair covering. And so because the story is about lots of jars getting filled with oil, I also did a kitchen image with lots and lots of jars that were going to get filled. And this is actually the only picture where you can see faces. So I haven't stressed too much about how to match things. But I actually found, I was just so happy with how this picture came together, the look of wonder of the children and this enormous jar that's being filled with oil. It really brings home the miraculous aspects of the story. And then I've used some other images, like repeated them just for the end of the story, because it's okay to circle back and remind people about some of the steps in the story.
Hi guys, my name's Jared, and like many of you, I find myself using AI more and more to create Bible images for kids ministry. The good news is that it's often easy to get a good result fast by writing a very basic prompt. Start your prompt with what you want, like Jesus teaching in a boat, and then add how you want it to look, like in the style of claymation. I usually enter the same message at least 3 times, and this way I get lots of pictures to pick from. Another helpful thing I do using Midjourney, I find a picture that looks like what I want, and then I put that picture in my prompt, and it helps me control how the final image turns out. Nah, I don't like these so much. Sometimes, we just need to remind the AI to give us the facial expressions we need. Much better. Anyway, I hope that helps. Go well.
I've just written a prompt here that says ancient Middle East interior. A woman prepares food for many people. She's overwhelmed. We can see people sitting and talking in the next room. I have no idea how this is going to work out. So I'm going to hit create. But also, I think you can probably imagine what this story might be about. It could be many of the stories from the New Testament, but particularly the story of Martha approaching Jesus about Mary sitting at his feet. And so here's the images that have come up. It's not necessarily one that we could particularly, that we may particularly want to use, but you get the sense of overwhelm. Someone's very, very busily preparing food. But this is what happens. So you give Bing a prompt and 4 images come up and you can choose it. So say I wanted to keep this image. I can preview it, just take a closer look and see what it's about. I can ask to save it. I can create a new collection and I can call it Martha's Story. And that can be saved. So I can save the image there, but you can also download it to keep it. And if you want to make customization changes, then once again, that's more like using Photoshop and manipulating an image. And I'm not very good at that. So I actually just keep searching for images. But the other thing I wanted to show you was that you can save your collections. So for example, yesterday I was attempting to make an owl image in a circle, and I wanted it to be lino print style. So you can see my prompt here is lino print style illustration of a snowy owl with a watchful face and a kind and gentle mood. And you can see that there's a real variety of owl faces that I've saved, but some of them are sinister and some of them look grumpy. But actually, I wanted to find something kind and gentle that also didn't have images in the back that might have looked like religious symbolism. You can also see that I've created other images from other stories. Some of these images are really useful and others I've saved potentially for other storytelling. But what's great about the collections is it also saves those prompts. So if you've had a prompt that's really worked out well for you, you can go back and copy it and paste it into Bing. Hope that's helpful.
There's one last resource I want to show you called This is Ned. You can go to Mac 7 and type This is Ned and you'll find it. But it's a resource on neurodiversity, beautiful little booklet. And I'm showing you because every image here was done on Bing. And beautiful little whimsical images helping to think through the different ways that neurodivergent children think and how do we serve them. And it's quite a big issue, I know, across Australia and across the world. So here's a great little tool that you could download. But anyway, every image here was created on Bing. So enjoy it. And there's more to the toolkit than what I'm showing you. So that gives you a taste of Bing and generative art. Let me give you a minute just to think about that. In the toolkit, there's 3 pages that are excellent at looking at the 7 different aspects of a prompt for AI, and it really stretches your thinking. You don't have to include all 7 of them, but the more you add, the more likely you're going to end up with what you're looking for. So let's have a minute. You can stretch your legs if you like. You can talk to the person next to you. What are some of the different ways you want to try using generative art? So we've gone through Chatbots, which is how you create words with AI. We've thought about creating images. In this last just under 15 minutes, I want to talk about some more advanced aspects of AI. So to push you, some of you will already be here and you'll want to learn from this. Others are just getting started, but hopefully this will stretch your thinking into what's possible. The first thing I want to show you though is a video that does use images, and we created it last year, again in this project called Families on Mission. And it's a beautiful little video. I'm actually going to show it to you twice for a very good reason. But the first time, this is something that was almost entirely made on my phone, and the images are AI as well as the voice is AI. So have a look at this and then I'll talk to you about it.
Are you a football family, camping family, fitness, fishing, chess? It is music. Is it cooking? Are you neat or in a mess? Is your household into puzzles, or history, or the stars? Do you dance, or skate, or mountain climb? Are you really into cars? Every household is a lighthouse that shines out what you do. What is it that is so unique? Those things that make you you? You might be empty nesters, or a family of 6. You might be living with your friends. Adoptive, a blend, a mix. Your family maybe goes to church? We're super glad you do. What about the other days? Is Jesus shining through? It's not about perfection. Not even being good. Just being salt and sharing light around your neighborhood. The good thing is we're not alone. We have a dad in heaven, from whom each family gets its name, you 2, you 4 or 7. No matter if you're into craft, or games, or painting jeans, or golf, or surf, or magic tricks, or building big machines. Find simple ways of shining light, even in your stinky fishin'. Is today the day to set your course? A family, on mission.
I hope you enjoyed that. I'll show you the other version in a moment. But when we think of advanced AI in creative sense, there are new things coming online all the time. So we've been able to create images for almost 18 months now, but slowly, week by week, there are more possibilities. One is to create video, so moving images using AI. And there's a number of different apps out there that you can use. This first one I'll show you is called Kyber AI, and it's sort of semi-animation. It's quite useful. We've used it at church. We've used it in other aspects of our ministry. And it uses the same idea of a prompt, and you just explain what you want. And then what style of video are you looking for, how long you want it. What size you want it, and then it will create an animated video for you. It's kind of limited to certain styles, but it's very interesting. Have a look at this. These are some of the examples of what is possible with Kyber AI. So try out Kyber AI, and you'll see we use that in the Shakespeare video, in the Lighthouse video, and the opening titles. So it's a great way to create some video effects. Then the other aspect that is very new is the concept of full AI video. And this is really developing quite fast, and certain things are now possible, but I'm sure within weeks, months, much more is possible. So I took the video that we made back in March of the families on mission, and I ran it through an app called Runway ML, which is one of the video AI programs. And again, in that instance, I could give an image and I could give an explanation for the prompt, a little bit like Jared was talking about. So you give a visual prompt as well as a prompt made with words. And I was able to change every single one of the images in that Families on Mission little video into actual video, all made by AI. So have a look at the result.
Are you a football family, camping family, fitness, fishing, chess? Is it music? Is it cooking? Are you neat or in a mess? Is your household into puzzles or history or the stars? Do you dance or skate or mountain climb? Are you really into cars? Every household is a lighthouse that shines out what you do. What is it that is so unique, those things that make you you? You might be empty nesters or a family of 6. You might be living with your friends, adoptive, a blend, a mix. Your family maybe goes to church. We're super glad you do. What about the other days? Is Jesus shining through? It's not about perfection, not even being good. Just being salt and sharing light around your neighborhood. The good thing is we're not alone. We have a dad in heaven, from whom each family gets its name, you 2, you 4, or 7. No matter if you're into craft or games or planting beans or golf or surf or magic tricks or building big machines, find simple ways of shining light, your family's special vision. Is today the day to set your course? A family on mission.
So as you can see, AI video is not perfect, but it's pretty extraordinary what AI can do. The final thing I want to share, and there's many things that are developing in AI, so it's impossible to cover everything. But AI animation is a new aspect that is starting to emerge. We've been using AI in the last 12 months to create AI characters that we then bring into other software. This is a bit more advanced for your average person, but if you are a graphic designer or you have access to Adobe, then this last bit I'll share with you is where we create a character and bring it into a piece of software called Character Animator. And you're able to animate in real time. So the animation is not AI, but the design is. But very soon, you'll be able to actually do this, I'm sure, using entirely AI, where you can create the animated character and put the voice on. So that's what I'm showing you. But here are a few examples of using Midjourney, or you could do this in Bing and create the character, and then you program it in Character Animator, and you can create a character. So enjoy this, the last little section of our training today.
I guess, well, it's just a thing that me and my family celebrate once a year.
It's definitely high up because it's free chocolate in the morning, which barely ever happens.
Yeah, of course. I love Easter. Easter is not that exciting to us because we can't have chocolate. So, because we're allergic and we'll vomit if we have too much.
No, if we have any.
Oh.
It's not as good as like my birthday or Christmas because Christmas is celebrating actually when Jesus was born. But it's not the worst.
In Christmas, like, there's a bunch of miracles made, but the ultimate miracle, the ultimate savior comes into the world. But then in Easter, he comes into the world to do what he came to do. And so it's the most important.
Wow, so that gives you a taste of AI and what's happening right now. And it's currently February in 2024. By March, it'll have changed. But I hope that the principles that we have given you today will get you started and give you some ideas, particularly how to use a chatbot and Bing and any other generative art program that you decide to use. There's lots of possibilities. I guess one of the challenges that we face is new technologies can be frightening, and they're frightening to me. It's quite challenging to keep up in this field. It's changing so rapidly. And yet, at the same time, we know that Lamentations says that the love, the faithfulness, the goodness of God is new every morning. And in many ways, we want to take this as a tool that God has given us to be able to communicate his love to the children, the families of our churches and of our world. And as somebody who loves to share resources and loves sharing resources through Mac 7 and many other places to make sure that churches are well equipped with highly creative resources, AI is making that faster and more possible, giving us the ability to translate things, giving us the ability to create images much quicker and much cheaper. So be wise how you use it, but also realize that God has given this as a wonderful tool for all of us to be able to create and do things that weren't possible before. I'd love to answer your questions. I wish I was there with you in person, but I hope that this has given you some steps to take forward and to try when you get home. May it help you in your children's ministry and any other ministry where you serve the Lord. And as we do what God has said, help us to love him and to love others and take this good news to the ends of the earth. I want to finish off with another AI robot who's got a little bit of wisdom for us as we think. And at the end, I'll put on the screen some of the links to the different software, the different places that I've mentioned so that you can write them down. But thank you. Thanks for having me and for the whole team. And hope that this helps you serve the Lord in the days ahead.
That brings us to the end of this intriguing and eye-opening session. And to think that I thought a fax machine was a wonder of science. But it does give pause for thought on how to use this technology wisely. It has many benefits and potential downsides, as every human endeavor through history has. 575 years ago, a new technology changed the world. The printing press. It had great power to do good and to spread evil. But it was because of that incredible innovation that you have a Bible today. AI reflects the same potential for good and for evil. As we ponder how to use it, remember that you have something even greater in your reach. You are creative, and you are made in the image of the living God. This is something that AI can never replace and will never match. Use that creativity that God has abundantly given you. Use it well. Harness your creativity in your service of God. And remember, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. Praise the Lord.